The baby's face was scratched and dirty, the blanket barely covering its pale, unwashed skin. But the haystacks looked as if they could provide some warmth and comfort, as did the 3 wise men standing nearby, even though one was missing his head. Alice stared at the nativity scene a fraction longer, a smile broadening her lips as she gazed at the infant, fear and excitement blooming inside her. Shop fronts glistened with Christmas decorations and seasonal greetings, the frosted windows strewn with multicolored tinsel and sprigs of holly, handmade decorations and signs. Defiant gestures by Londoners determined to get on with their lives. Alice wished she had time to stay a while longer, but she had to hurry. It was Monday morning, so they would all be assembled for the weekly meeting, and she would make the speech that she'd been practicing for some time. More shops and offices were opening as she hurried by, their entrances and doorways crowded with the morning rush. She carried on past a line of steam-filled cafes, only slowing when the storefront of W.H. Smith & Son came into view. A sign above the entrance read, "Blacked out evenings. Take home some books." And a familiar poster stood propped against the end of the bookstand. Important. Newspapers and magazines supplied to order only. The only way to make sure of regular supplies is to give a standing order for all newspapers, periodicals and magazines required, whether these are to be delivered or bought over the counter. Please give your order now. Alice buttoned her coat as she read, trying to even out her breath, the brutal sting of cold air reawakening her nervousness over what she was about to do. There was no time for second thoughts now, no chance to turn back the clock, so she placed her hand protectively across her belly and carried on into Russell Square. Above the dark slate roofs, the fire watchers' platforms and terracotta chimneys, a reluctant winter sun struggled through a sullen sky, and the city grew more orderly. Alice headed south toward a Gothic building, flanked by taller neighbours, trying not to step on the cracks between the paving stones as she ran through her speech one more time. The old 5-story building creaked as it welcomed her inside. Since the entrance hall was empty, she stood and looked longingly around. At the substantial glass lantern overhead, still hanging obstinately despite the bombing raids. At the black and white tiled floor with its worn oriental rug, and the 2 wingback chairs on either side of the buffet table. An oversized mirror hung above it, reflecting the vase of cascading silk flowers. On the opposite wall, an imposing carved Victorian coat stand resembled an upended fishing vessel full of coats, hats and umbrellas, with Nelson's leash dangling at one end. He was her employer's black Labrador. She dropped her belongings at her feet, heart hammering in her chest, grateful no one was there to see her dishevelled state. She'd caught her reflection in a shop window, her dark blonde hair frizzy in the damp air, navy eyes ringed red with tiredness. Her mother was right. She did need more sleep, for her and the baby's sake. Her colleagues had told her that lots of people had once milled about in the entryway to Partridge Press. Agents, delivery boys, a visitor from one government department or another, or a journalist on the scent of a story about one of their writers. Their offices had once been in Paternoster Row, in the heart of the city, until a tragic night in December 1940, when their building and 17 other publishing offices had been destroyed. Larger ones like Hutchinson, Longman and Blackwood included. The firms had moved to locations around the British Museum and further west, the event uniting the industry as publishers lent each other office space in a show of solidarity. That was when she had joined Partridge, and she still tried hard not to imagine the collective loss of books and artworks. Her company had lost thousands of works and illustrations, and most of their steel and copper engraving plates and woodcuts, and they were still struggling to recover.